Oh, we building those trenches, baby. Miami Hurricanes just got another verbal commit, and this one is on the offensive line. Juan Minaya, welcome to the U.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I think I might have blown out a vocal cord on that one. Getting so many verbal commits over these past couple of weeks. This is the fifth one here in rapid succession. Doesn't make him any less important. We've talked about here on Locked On Canes how Miami, if they want to try to, and they're not there yet, obviously, but if they want to try to get to the level of the Georgias and the Bamas out there, you have to win at the line of scrimmage. You've got to dominate on the offensive line. Hurricanes have landed a verbal commit from Catholic High School in Paramus, New Jersey, three-star offensive tackle Juan Minaya, who not only verbally committed to Miami, but he said he's shutting down his recruitment. Obviously, I hope he sticks to that. Usually when these guys say it that matter-of-factly, they do. So Juan Minaya is going to be a Miami Hurricane. I trust when it comes to Miami staff in developing players, I trust them more with offensive linemen than I do with any other position on the field, because that's where Alex Mirabal, the offensive line coach, and Mario Cristobal, the head coach, who's still an offensive line coach at heart, that's where they've had the most success going back to their time together at Oregon. And then, of course, for Cristobal, going back to his time at Alabama as the offensive line coach. And even before that, you trust these guys not only to develop offensive linemen when they get down to Coral Gables, but to also identify these guys. And in Manaya's case, folks, you can't teach this kind of size. 6'6", 330 pounds. Goliath is what this guy is. He is massive. He's nimble for his size. Everything I've learned about this young man in recent weeks since his Miami interest started to really multiply is very, very, very hardworking young man who wants to do everything he can do, not only to win and improve at the college level, but then get to that next level as well, right? To be another success story on the Mirabal, Cristobal offensive line development program. And this is a huge get for Miami. And if you look at the type of size Miami is bringing in last year's class and now in this year's class, hopefully Manaya is the first of many offensive linemen and good, solid, big, large offensive linemen who joined this class. But boy, are they finding big ones, right? I mean, yeah, we talk a lot about the 5 stars who are in this class of 2023. Samson Okunlola, the pancake honcho, Francis Mauigoa, how they're 335, 345 pound, I think 325 and 335 respectively. Those are some big, big individuals. And now you're talking about a guy like Minaya, who's not even played his senior year of high school yet. That's coming up this coming year. He's already 315 plus pounds at 6'6". In addition to the 5 stars we mentioned, you've got Tommy Kinsler, Big Bruno, coming in. He's not an early enrollee, but he's going to be on campus this summer. He's 6'6", 330. You've got Frankie Tinilau, who's a show favorite. I think he's going to end up being a great offensive tackle at Miami. He can maybe slide in and play guard as well. He's 6'5", 315. I've met Frankie in person. The guy is absolutely gigantic. So now you add 6'6", 315, and growing Juan Manaya into that mix. You're building up the trenches for the future. I didn't mention Antonio Tripp, who's already on campus, the interior offensive lineman. So you're building up those trenches for the future. We talked about it. One of, I guess, the less great things about the spring game this past Friday was the offensive line didn't look great. Their depth was tested, though, because you had 2 of your starters who had been on that starting O-line all throughout the spring, did not participate in the spring game. They both picked up issues in warm-ups and were held out as a precaution. You didn't have Javion Cohen in the spring game, and you didn't have Big Coop, Inez Cooper, in the spring game. I didn't think Jalen Rivers looked that great at left tackle. So I think we came to see, hey, maybe the offensive line right now, it's only spring, but maybe they're not quite as blessed with depth as we thought they were. That's not going to be an issue a year, 2, 3 years down the road. No, not with the way that Cristobal and Mirabal want to build up these trenches. So good Jersey boy in Juan Minaya comes in and he joins this University of Miami football team. And he said so many nice things about the U. They love their players, every single one of them. He told 24/7 Sports, from starters to third string guys, they coach hard, they love hard, and they coach every kid the same. And they're trying to develop every single kid like if they're all going to the NFL. And I like that line he used. They coach hard and they love hard. I don't know if Jason Taylor is the one who coined that phrase, but I've heard JT say that a couple of times. So that might have been like a mantra from Jason Taylor, Miami defensive line coach, Pro Football Hall of Famer. That might be something that some of the other coaches picked up on from JT and they've started using it, or maybe JT learned it from Cristobal or Mirabal and I didn't even realize it, but they coach hard and they love hard. I love to hear that. So again, Miami is building momentum on the recruiting trail. And I know I'm going to get some comments from people out there who are like, yeah, but only one 4-star. Rest of these guys are Jags. Who cares? Wake me up when we get another 4-star or a 5-star commit. I'll tell you, and obviously, yeah, just from a fan perspective, you want to see as many highly touted players as possible. Miami had 2 5-stars in last year's class, several 4-stars. We do have 1 4-star so far in this year's or this upcoming class of 2024. You want to see more of those, but you may go by star system. I may go by star system, but these coaches, they're in the weeds. They're in the trenches, so to speak. They're the ones evaluating these guys in person and up close. Believe me, they're not going by stars. Did Ed Reed have any stars? He didn't have. I'm not even sure if they gave out stars back in Ed Reed's day, but he wouldn't have been more than a 3-star, and he turned out to be the greatest safety of all time for my money. So you may go by the stars. The coaches don't. You've got a quarterback so far in this class who's a 3-star. Another guy he's 6'6", so you got a tall quarterback in Judd Anderson. You got Chris Wheatley Humphrey. We just did an episode for him this morning. The running back out of South Broward. You've got Dylan Day, who's another 3-star Southern Lab in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, defensive back. You've got Abram Murray, a 3-star kicker in the class. And, of course, you have Chance Robinson, the 4-star wide receiver out of a premier program in South Florida, St. Thomas Aquinas, who is in the class. So, based on the intel that we've been gathering, I do not expect Minaya to even be the final commitment this week. I think Miami is going to have another verbal commitment or 2 coming in the upcoming days. And don't be surprised to see some serious action inside the transfer portal as well. I've been given some pretty positive feedback on where Miami stands for Jeffrey Emba, the 6'6", 305-pound defensive tackle out of Auburn, who's in the transfer portal. I did report on this show a few days ago, that Miami did contact him as soon as he hit the transfer portal. And I've been given an update from the Auburn side that says, hey, Miami could be closing in on something here with Jeffrey Emba. So he may be someone who comes through the pipeline pretty soon. We could have more class of 2024 recruits dropping soon as well. I certainly hope Miami gets some good news in the coming days, weeks, or even months from 5-star wide receiver JoJo Trader. I don't necessarily think anything is imminent with him, but, Trader did speak with our Brian Smith of All Hurricanes over the weekend, said the spring game was good. He was at that spring game. He and Chance Robinson were there together. The offense has more to it, he says. It's an air raid. They spread the ball around, and there's good rotation, stuff like that. He says, they're trying for me a lot. They hit me a lot. It's a brotherhood. Miami is getting back, JoJo Trader said. So hopefully they can get him on board pretty soon. Oh, man. So, guys, we are going to have another episode today. Will that be our 3rd episode of the day today? Oh, I need some sleep or something. I've still got a lot to do today. We're going to talk with the truth teller, Bruce Warner, at 5 p.m. today. So make sure you check that out on another episode of Locked On Canes, part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network. And Juan Manaya, welcome to the U. Your team every day.